Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, another episode, and today is going to be a good one, folks. I have Jachelle Sologuren from Seattle, Washington, and she's the marketing tech trainer for 20 plus Remax offices. And so I think we're going to get very different perspectives because she's a trainer. She's teaching agents how to use AI, and as well as she's in the, lack of a better word, she's in the weeds with agents, teaching them how to leverage AI to better their business. So, Jachelle, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you and I met briefly in Charleston
Yes.
earlier this year in April in one of the AI breakout sessions, and then I sort of see your stuff because I follow you. I stalk people on Instagram typically before they become guests. But so interesting enough, I went to your Instagram profile and then there was a Ask AI Jachelle a question.
Yes.
So, so there's some fun stuff. So we'll get into all that, but before we get into the weeds about all things AI, I'd love for the listening audience to get to know you, Jachelle. You're obviously from Seattle, Washington. I gave you a little brief intro, but give us your background, how you got into real estate, and bring us to today.
Okay, so I feel like everyone has a story, right?
Yeah.
So with real estate, I actually got into real estate about 4 years ago almost. And I moved to Seattle from Kentucky about 4.5 years ago. So one of the reasons I moved to Seattle was because it was moving a lot faster than Kentucky and the Midwest. And sorry for all of those that are in the Midwest. Keep up, right? You got to keep up with all the
Yeah,
things
that's
happening
all. Yeah.
everywhere. But I felt like it was moving just a little bit too slow for me, and I really wanted to get into live in a city as well that was just a little bit more advanced with technology, and that's why I'm here in Seattle. And one of the reasons why I have the job that I have is because I moved here. I don't think this role that I have, a marketing and technology trainer, existed before. So it's definitely something that I've created. It started out as a marketing coach, and then all of these tech things, right, popping up. We have AI coming out. We have all of this new technology coming out. So that's kind of how my role developed into what it is today.
Yeah, yeah. So which part of Kentucky, by the way?
Oh, Nicholasville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow. I can't say that I have because one of our
It's like
conventions
right
not too long
outside
ago.
of Lexington. There's another
Okay.
coach. His name's Jeremy Collins. He was actually there at the Bold Show conference as well. And he was
Yeah.
making fun. He was like, I have a few listing examples, but nobody knows where this is. It's in Nicholasville, Kentucky. I was like, hey, I know where that is. I'm actually from there.
That's right.
Oh
That's
my
funny.
gosh, that was funny.
Yeah, I
That was
like.
funny.
Yeah, so that's a fun story. So you'd only been in real estate 4.5, 4 years.
Yeah, four and a
Wow.
half
So
years or so. I came in with marketing and tech background. So right out of college, I got a job with an RV financing company in in Ohio, and they challenged me with creating a website, a brand, a logo, a mission statement, all of this marketing stuff. And I had just graduated from college with communications and philosophy. And in his brain, communications meant you know everything about marketing. And I wasn't about to tell him I didn't know how to make any of this stuff. So I got to the job and I made all of the website and all the things and had to really, you know, just kind of hunker down and figure out all of this stuff for him because he had no idea what was going on either. And he still uses the
yeah,
website to this day, which is pretty cool.
nice, nice. OJT, right? On the job training, nothing like it.
Exactly.
Right? So cool stuff. So, what was your first like light bulb moment with AI? Everybody's got their own thing. It's whether it's personal or professional. What was that for you?
Light bulb moment with AI. I feel as though I had just kept seeing it in the entertainment industry, you know, with
Mm,
music videos and filters on, you know, Snapchat and Instagram and all this stuff. And I was like, how is this technology even, available? How is this happening? And I think one of the quotes I really love the most is like, stay curious, right? Always ask questions.
yeah.
So whenever I was starting to see that, I feel as though my role, especially with like my family and the people around me who are a little bit older, I'm 28, who are a little bit, you know, I have to kind of help them, right? Sometimes whenever it's like my grandparents and things like that, where they're like, look at this cool new video I saw. And I'm just like, no, 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 that's not real. Like, that's AI. I feel like a lot of my role was debunking AI and kind of like helping them through, which then helped me understand, like, whoa, there's some people taking advantage of others, right? And with this AI, and I think that there needs to be more education around it.
100%.
So that's one of the
Yeah.
light bulb moments where I was like, I think there needs to just be a little bit more help. we can't just expect people to know the difference between an AI generated video and not an AI generated video. And then I saw how helpful it can be as well with things like ChatGPT. Hey, I have these things in my fridge. What can I make for dinner? Like, and hey, I have this plan that I want to put in action. How can I make this a little bit better? Give me a few tips and things like that. And then it kind of trickles into creating something like an Ask Jachelle as well for my brokers, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to get into that for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I think everybody's got their own kind of light bulb moments, and I think once you have your first, you start chasing the others as you go
Right.
forward, because you want to find enhancements. And I think when we're entering a society with AI and the embracing of AI, I think it'll take more to earn trust because we don't know what's
Right.
real, what's AI. But I think as you learn AI, and I think you'll agree with this, as you learn AI and be proficient at it, stuff you produce will not even look like AI if you do
No,
it well.
it
I
will
think
look
that's the
great.
journey we're all on, right?
Right.
So good stuff. So that let's tackle the Ask Jachelle first because I don't want to lose track of that, and then we'll get into
Yeah.
um, because you're a marketing tech trainer. There's so much of stuff that sort of touches AI at various levels, and we'll get into whatever time we have here with three
Yeah.
or four things that you feel like is going to help people that are listening to the show. So let's start with Ask Jachelle. And by the way, we'll put a link to Jachelle's Instagram in the show notes. So you're welcome to follow her first, and then you can ask Jachelle a question, okay, with the AI stuff. So let's get into it. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so a lot of my job is fielding questions, doing tech tickets, kind of being the all encompassing, marketing, technology, social media answering person.
Yeah.
And there was one of the brokers had it was like something back in the day, it was like answer something. I can't remember exactly. But one of the brokers brought it to me and he was like, hey, there used to be this thing that people would ask questions and then they would always get answers for it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should create something called Ask Jachelle. I always get these same questions, and something even better than a FAQ, right? Like a frequently asked question one pager that people still have to search through could be a chat GPT where they can just go in, engage with this person. It sounds like me. I've plugged in my own emails, my own text, the way I answer things, and they can feel like they're talking to me. And if it does need to go into like a one-on-one coaching session or a training or a dive deeper, then we can meet. So it definitely comes in handy because again, I can plug in things like PDFs, articles, links, all of this information, and it's all there so that somebody, if they're like, I don't know how to start with social media, I've had those conversations with people already, and now I've plugged it into Ask Jachelle, and she can answer, hey, where are we starting at? How do you even have a social media account? When was the last time you logged in? Do you know, all of these types of questions are already plugged in that somebody might not find on Google, or they're just trying to like search for something. So it feels like they're having a conversation with me, and then they can actually meet with me if they need to.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. And then you obviously fed it all your writings and
Right.
Q&As and FAQs, all that stuff. So what tool did you use to plug that into Instagram? What's your AI tool that you use to feed all your data?
Yeah, so Instagram actually has their own tool.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about this. I just found about I found
No,
out
I
about
didn't
this
know
like
about it either. So
last
this is why I
week,
host smart
right?
people on the podcast to find out about stuff. Yeah.
Because Instagram's always releasing different things for different people at different times, right? Because they're testing
Nice.
things. And I do help manage a few other people's social media profiles, so it is pretty cool as well. Where if
Nice.
they get an update and I don't get the update, I can kind of like play around with it in their account. But I did see this new AI feature in Instagram, and it asked me to. It was like, "Do you want to create one?" And I was like, "Is this the same thing as the custom ChatGPT?" And it's so funny. I have an office admin in my office here in Seattle, and I was like, look at the cool new thing. She was like, oh my gosh, another new thing. She's like, I'm freaking out. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's okay, again, because she's based off of me, and I get to pick all of these things. And hey, maybe this will be one of the things that we can take a clip from. But I was deathly afraid of things from like iRobot when I was a kid. Okay, like that came out
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
a kid. So as soon as the whole AI thing came out, I was like, oh my god, we're shifting into that world. And it was like, you know what? Let me just take a step back and be like, okay, this is real life, and we have to use it the right way. And I think that's the goal. Yes, you have to use it the
That's
right way.
that's great. That's great. So, and this is a new feature Instagram rolled out.
Yes.
And does it? You can upload your own data to it for it to search. You can put guardrails around what it can and
Yes.
cannot do. And can you also give it websites you trust that it can scour those websites to get the answers? Or
You know
tell me
what?
what you can.
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I haven't gone that deep into it
Okay.
yet, but I do know
Yeah.
that you can plug in like frequently asked questions and like
Data.
prompts as
Perfect.
well. For if somebody
Yeah.
like just hops into it, it'll just immediately ask like, "Do you need help with social media? Do you need help with this?" And then it can kind of just go based off of how that person answers.
Yeah. The conversation starters,
Right.
basically, right? And custom GPTs. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you need to ask Jachelle anything, go ask Jachelle at this point, right? So before you actually DM her for anything. Okay. So let's talk about you serve 20 Remax offices. How many agents total on the 20 offices?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it's 500 plus.
Wow, 500 agents. So you're doing the marketing tech training. So let's dig into specific
Yeah.
use cases for how AI is being leveraged. You're teaching them
Yeah.
that they're seeing productivity enhancements or whatever use cases there are.
Yeah.
Just dig into it.
So let's dig into it. First things first is the website, right? The website, 100%. One thing that I do is update websites and kind of
Yeah.
tune it up, right? Because with Remax, we get these beautifully built out bold trail websites with a few extra customizations. And I don't think enough people take advantage of it. They don't use it enough, right? And I
Yeah.
think people need to change their idea of what a website is, right? A website is your store, it's your digital presence as a store. If you were a brick and mortar, this is where people are going to come. And if you're not doing anything, if you're selling coffee and your website, that is a store, and there's nothing pulling people there, and they come in and they're like, where's the coffee at? Where's the listings? Where's the information? Where is the buyer guide? Where's the seller guide? If I'm a consumer, how is your website helping me? That was one thing that I really liked to dig into with people. They're creating something like a landing page or a thinking about moving to Seattle page, right? Those types of things. People are always like, I don't know what to put. Okay, we're not stopping there. You don't get off the hook. We're going to go into ChatGPT. We're going to create the content, and then I will show you how to build out some of these pages. And then it can be even more powerful than just building out a landing page with a few words. Thinking about moving here, click here, and there's nothing, of value. Nobody's going to want to click that. So that was one of the first things. Second thing is building out, and using the Smart Assistant within Bold Trail because it's basically ChatGPT plugged in with real estate lingo already plugged in as well. And one of the things I like to tell them is to add some customization to their drip campaigns, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be sending people stuff that isn't meeting where they're at, right? They'll click right out of it. They won't ever open it. So adding more of the customization, localization, all of that, it makes it more, deliverable, valuable, and again, creating those like, know, and trust feelings with you instead of it just being, wow, this person just set me up on a generic campaign. They don't care about me. They don't know who I am. Whenever you do something more unique for them, they feel it.
Yeah, 100%. I think you bring up a good point. I mean, you mentioned Bold Trail, which is this, industry CRM, and we recently had Dan Foodie from Close. He's the founder and CEO of Close,
Okay.
and I think they're all solutions that we agents use are incorporating AI. So AI is coming
Right.
closer to things that we're already using,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good example of that use case. But there's always reasons for, in your point, to go to see ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever people are using,
Right.
to create content that's more personal, more engaging, that drives more traffic to your website in that case as well. So that's a good takeaway right there. So what else,
Right.
Jachelle?
Yeah, and there's people who've been in the business for few years to 20 plus years, right? And a lot of people have all of this collateral, I will say, right? Marketing materials that are outdated. If they're more than
Yeah,
5 years old, it's probably outdated. It probably needs a little bit of an update, right? And when people ask me, where do I start? Start with that and then make it better. Can we update
yeah,
this? Can we update that? You can plug in things like an old flyer or an old brochure and just say, hey, how can I make this more modern? How can I
yeah.
bring this to 2025? And that can immediately help them right there. And with other things like automating tasks and things like that, I
Yeah.
feel like that's really helpful because I feel as though in 2025, like all of us are time broke. What I like to say, all of us are broke on time, right? Nobody has any time. Everybody's busy. And one of the things that we can do with AI is treat it as an assistant, right? I think
Yeah.
people think AI is trying to take over life. But if we, again, like you said, set up the guardrails, give it parameters so that we can actually have it help us get back some more time in automating tasks. There's a tool called Folio that organizes your email into folders. Like, there's so many things that I wish, as a marketing and tech trainer, I get to see all the things brokers get to use, and I'm like, man, they need to create a marketing and tech version for me. You know, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just
For
so many
sure.
tools out there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, even Fixer.ai is really good for email.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've been using it about for 30 days now, and it saves me an hour a day dealing with email.
Oh my god, I have to write that
Um, yeah,
down.
I think it's fyxr.ai, but
Okay.
it's close enough. You can just Google it and you get it. Again, I think finding things that you're doing time to your point, being time broke and you're spending so much time in a day,
Right.
um, you need to find the right AI solution that can actually collapse time and give you that a portion of that time back, right? So
Exactly.
that's good takeaway. So anything else, Jachelle?
Anything else? There's so much we could talk about. I feel
Yeah, for sure. I
I
mean, like
really,
you touched on building a chatbot. You
yeah,
touched on building, creating content, automating some tasks, and the other thing that I talk about, Jachelle, which is interesting, I mean, most people are using AI if they're early in their journey to do things faster,
mhm,
like collapsing time, and using it like as a Google,
right,
literally asking it questions, etc., which is a great place to start. But as you evolve, I think you need to move towards not just replacing your tasks, but doing the tasks better
yeah,
than without AI, right? I mean, I've started to feed it so much of personalized data, to your point, where it knows the ideal client persona
right,
for agents. It knows the brand you're with. It knows the pain points and the pleasures of clients. All of that stuff is
right,
baked in, so the output is truly personal. To your point,
right,
because personalization is king. If you can personalize it, people are going to know. I mean, it's almost like having a phone conversation in an
exactly.
email and put it out, right? So good takeaways there. Anything else that you want to add before I get to my final two questions?
Yeah, so I think people need to understand that they're not on an island. You are not on an island, okay? There's a lot of things happening with technology. It's moving very fast. I know it can be scary. One thing that I like to tell people, especially because I'm, below 30, is that I didn't grow up with this AI. I didn't grow up with virtual reality. If somebody put me into virtual reality and they were like, "Okay, figure it out," I would be like so lost, right? What's happening? I don't know where. I would figure it out, but it would take some time. And I think that we need to remember that a lot of people, it takes time to adopt technology, and it is
Yeah.
scary, and they did not grow up with this. I talk to people all the time, and I have a lot of brokers who, again, have been in the business for like 20 plus years, and they're just like, whenever we first got access to computers, if you touched a button, you would have to pay money, or the whole computer would shut down. And I'm just like, whoa, I understand, that it is scary and we need to just take it bit by bit. What I like to say, and the quote is, right, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Ask your
That's
friends,
right.
ask for help, phone a friend. You don't have to be alone with this technology. You can watch podcasts like this. You can engage with trainings. You can follow me on Instagram. You can do all of these things to not be on an island. You don't have to learn this on your own. There are so many people here that are gonna, it's gonna be a fun conversation. Ask the question. Don't be by yourself with this.
No, 100%. Great advice. And maybe that's your one piece of advice for real estate agents that I was going to get to here shortly. But no, but great piece of advice. I mean, I think the biggest advice I give agents is, to your point, start your journey.
Right.
Like, I mean, be at a different place, in a better place this time next year
Yeah.
versus where you are now. It's like the
Exactly.
Kaizen principle, right? Where you be better tomorrow than today. And a great example, you're in a different time zone, like you're 3 hours behind the East Coast where I'm at.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're behind us. You're just in a different time zone,
Yeah.
you know? Right. So we're all on our own journeys,
Exactly.
and I think, I think the goal of the podcast has always been making AI approachable and actionable,
Yeah.
um, because everybody listens. They'll listen to you and they'll say, "Oh, I should do that." Like little
Right.
things that move the needle, and that's what really it is. So let me get to the final two questions,
Yeah.
Jachelle. So, and if you have a different piece of advice or you want to lean on the one you said, that's fine. So you work with 500 plus agents. So you see agents every day, um, and you are early in your career, but you've been in the industry for 4 years. What would your one piece of advice be? It could be AI, it could be anything business wise that agents should embrace.
Yes. I will lead with the one thing I heard whenever I first joined real estate. Real estate is about real people. Emphasis on
Yeah.
the word real. They aren't just leads, they aren't just numbers in a system. You aren't just somebody that can be replaced. You are a real human being with real feelings, and you take one step at a time, and the people that you help will remember that. And if you treat them as not a turn and burn, okay, we're done with this transaction, let's go to the next, you really engage and create that relationship. We can do what everybody has been saying, get rid of the past client and create a full time, lifetime client. Somebody that is a real person making a very big decision in their life. Okay, they're buying or selling a house. Somebody could have bought a house, never, right? They're a first time home buyer. They've never bought a house before. Or they are a seller, but they bought a house in 2005. When have they ever been a seller? This is their first time. They don't know where to start, so treat them as real human beings and use AI to help you as a human being do your job. And I think that is what I want to close on because it's really just about real people. And I think people just get too, like we say, in the weeds with social media. Look at that screen time, y'all. Look at that screen time. And again, be outside, touch some grass, and be a real person.
100%. 100%. I mean, I think the whole genesis of embracing a transformative tech like AI is it'll give you the time to build deeper, meaningful, more relationships. I mean, if you
Right,
can double down on that, that's the last mile, I call it, that
right.
AI will never replace. So well said. Great piece of advice. So the final question I have for you is, are you a book or a podcast person, Jashelle?
Book.
Book. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go into the book. So what is the one book that has sort of maybe influenced you the most in shaping, who you are?
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of books. Like I said, I did philosophy in college, so we read a lot of books. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A lot of very thick books. But one of the recent ones that I actually share out to other people, I just shared it to one of a younger broker, and he's like, "Whoa, I learned so much." I think it's just super great. The Go Giver. The Go
Oh
Giver.
yeah.
Love that book. It was
Great book.
given to
Great
me,
book.
and now I've passed it down. And I think that's just something where you can really learn. I'm a connector, I feel like, and I really love connecting people and bringing them together and showing value. Bringing community together is very important to me. Just again, treating people like real people, and it's just like, how can we make this fun, right? And that's one of the
Yeah.
things I love to do. And The Go Giver, if you haven't read it, read it. It is so
Great
at the
book.
end. Oh my gosh, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. It's a great book. I've read it a couple of times, and I've even heard the author Burg, Bob Burg, I think.
Yeah,
I could be mistaken, but I've heard him live on stage somewhere, and he
yeah,
was phenomenal. But the book is awesome. It's a must read for sure for any industry, life in general. It's a principle driven book, which is phenomenal.
yeah,
Jashelle, this has been fun.
yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate you jumping on. I'm glad I met you at in Charleston, and we'll keep up with each other on social, and hopefully I'll meet you in real life real soon.
All right, that sounds good to me. If you're ever in Seattle, let me know.
I will definitely let you hook you up, or hit you up, I should say. But thank you, Jashelle. Take care.
Of course. Take care. Bye.
Bye.